Hello everyone, welcome to History Chapter 7 Tribes, Nomads and Settled Community. Children, this is very interesting chapter. Through this we will come to know about different tribal groups in our country. So let's see what are the different topics which we are going to cover. First, we will do introduction, then tribes, who basically they are, then who are the tribal people, nomads and itinerants, Banjaras, about them we will come to know, then changing society. Afterwards, we will be having two case studies regarding the Gond and the Ahoms. So first of all, let us see who are the tribals. In large parts of the subcontinent, society was divided as per the rules of Varna. Varna means related towards Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. Gradually, the difference between the high and low and between the rich and poor increased. Many societies in the subcontinent did not follow the social rules and rituals prescribed by the Brahmins, nor were they divided into various unequal classes. Such societies are known as tribes. This is the definition of tribe, means they did not follow the society rules. They make up their own rules and regulations and they live in separate from the society. So these people who lived separately were known as the tribal group of people. In this picture, we will be seeing the red mark related towards the central part of Madhya Pradesh. This is showing you a group of the Gond people, and as well as towards the Arunachal Pradesh also you find here the tribal group. Now, the tribes. The tribals have always existed beyond the mainstream society and have been guided and governed by their own set of rules. Those who followed the ruler were known as Das. Those who refused to accept the bondage were known as Dasyus. In East and Central India, the Ahoms and the Gond established their own independent kingdoms. The Gond formed the Gondwana kingdom. Jabalpur was one of the main centers of the kingdom. Jabalpur means your own city where you are living is supposed to be one of the major area of the Gondwana kingdom where Rani Durgavati ruled. Okay. Many of these tribal groups controlled land and pastures and then divided amongst households according to its own rules. In this particular map of India, we find that in Madhya Pradesh, we are having, that means related towards the central India, we are having the provinces. Central province was having lot of people regarding the tribal group of people, and in the other side you find here during the time period of the Ahoms. Here they have mentioned in a very beautiful manner regarding the Delhi Sultanate and the Gujarat, the Yadav dynasties, as well as they have also shown the Ahoms. Ahoms means towards the central, apart from the central India, towards the eastern part of India, we are having the Ahoms to be living with the tribal groups. Okay. Then who the tribal people were? Tribal people did not keep any written records, means they didn't know how to read and write. That's why they were not having any written records. But they preserved rich customs and oral traditions. They were passed down from generation to generation. Tribal people were found in every part of the subcontinent. Means it's not the fact that only in India, but in every part of the world we find the tribal group of people living. Here in India, we are having the Khokar tribe existed in Punjab. The Langhas and the Arghuns dominated Multan and Sindh. Gaddis lived in the Himalayas. They were shepherd tribes. The northeast was dominated by the Nagas, Ahoms and many others. Nomads and itinerant means these are the two groups. Who these two groups are, let's see. Many of the tribes were nomadic and moved from one place to another. They usually lived in forests, hills and deserts which were inaccessible. Inaccessible means normally the common person is not able to go inside the dense forest areas, and in those areas only these nomads used to live. Nomads means they are not familiar with the people who are living in the society and they keep on moving from one place to another. They don't have any permanent settlement. Okay. One of the most powerful nomadic tribes of this period was the Jat. They settled in Punjab and attained political importance in 1669. In the previous chapter, you have also gone through the Jats, about whom Akbar also gave the task regarding the ruling in one of the sector also. So these were those Jats only. Then Banjaras. You are familiar with the word Banjaras. They were the most important nomadic traders. Nomadic traders means those who keep on moving from one place to another with the things and they used to sell. That's why they are known as nomadic traders. They traveled in caravan called Tanda. Alauddin Khalji used the Banjaras to transport grains to the city markets. This is one of the picture which is showing you that how they used to move from one place to another, keeping the animals with them and means the bullock carts with them, and this is how from one place to another they carry the goods and they are having the family with them. Then this is one of the things which the Banjaras used to keep, like one of the female is doing embroidery in the clothes, and other side you find a few things made with the craft related towards the metals and the wooden work. So these things they used to make and sell in the different areas wherever they are moving. They also helped in transporting food grains for the Mughal army during military campaigns. These Banjaras carry their household wives and children along with them. They buy grain where it is cheaply available and carry it to places where it is dearer. Again, this is the picture which is showing you that the Banjaras, they move with the carts and the animals with them, and this is the sheep which they are these are the shepherds who are rearing the sheep and using the wool of it. Now let's come to the new topic, that is changing society. Many tribes were taken into caste-based society and given the status of jatis. Smith, carpenters and masons were also recognized as separate jati. Jati means the caste system, caste people. By the 11th and 12th centuries, the Rajput clans had become very powerful. The rise of Rajput clans to the position of kings set an example for tribal people to follow. A large majority joined the lower jatis of caste society. The unequal social order prescribed by orthodox Hinduism was not accepted in these areas. Now, let's come to a new thing, that is the case study. Case study means having a specific reading of one particular thing, that is the Gond we are going to read. So the Gonds are the largest tribes in central India. They are spread over the states of Madhya Pradesh, eastern Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh and western Odisha. The Gond tribe was divided into many clans having their own Raja. The Akbarnama mentions the Gond kingdom of Gadha Katanga was divided into Gad. This was further divided into units of 84 villages called Chaurasi. The Gondi language is related to Telugu and other Dravidian languages. The Gond live in large forested areas called Gondwana. The Gond were traditionally agriculturists. This is the picture which is showing you the Gond, their dressing sense, how they celebrate any of the occasion. Now some Gonds practiced shifting cultivation while others raised cereals or herd cattle. Shifting means for 2 to 3 years they will be having any of the farm, making any area to be farm land, and then after that they are going to burn that land area and move to other area. Rani Durgavati was one of the most powerful Gond ruler. She refused to submit to the Mughal Emperor Akbar. You are well known of Rani Durgavati in your Jabalpur where you are residing. We are having the university in honor to her. That means Rani Durgavati Vishwavidyalaya we are having in Jabalpur. Her kingdom Gadha Katanga was one of the 5 independent Gond states. She was a very capable administrator, and due to this capability only she was known at that time period, and still we are known to that thing. This is a picture of Rani Durgavati. In 1565, the Mughal forces under Asaf Khan attacked Gadh Katanga. Rani Durgavati put up a very strong resistance but was overcome. She preferred to die rather than surrender. So it was bravery of her that instead of getting surrender before the Mughals, she better decided to make herself die instead of coming in the hands of the enemy. The Mughals annexed large part of the kingdom. It finally fell to the Bundela and the Marathas in 1789. This is very well known statue which you are aware in your city, and I know you know the name. Yes, it is Bhavartal, where this particular elephant and Rani Durgavati has a statue. This picture also you are very well aware, it's related towards the fort of Madan Mahal ka Kila. This is, yes, it's true, it's the Smarak of Rani Durgavati. Now let's come to Ahoms, which is lying in the eastern part of India, northeast part of India. The Ahoms were a tribe who established the Ahom kingdom in parts of present-day Assam. They ruled for nearly 600 years. In the beginning, Assam was known as Kamrupa. In the 13th century, the Ahoms migrated to the Brahmaputra Valley from present-day Myanmar. This is particular picture which is showing you regarding the area where the Ahoms resides. This is the costume which they used to wear. The Ahom kingdom reached its peak during the reign of Rudra Singh. Burunjis or the Ahom chronicles were encouraged by him. He was skilled in warfare and established trade relations with Tibet. The kingdom of Ahom prospered and he built the grand city of Rangpur. King Pramatta Singh built an amphitheatre called Rangghar from where the royal family would watch elephant fights and other sports. So this completes the chapter. Hope you have understood, and this is the particular map which is showing you regarding the areas where the tribals used to live. Concerned towards the Ahoms means the northeastern part of India. So God bless you all and thank you children.